For these last 2 decades, there's been one man that's really been kicking some serious rear end in the world of action movies. And that man is Jason Statham. He's done some pretty good ones, going from the Transporters series to the Expendables series to even some other good films. Some that may not have been great, like Ghost of Mars, or maybe even the remake of The Italian Job, or even his recent film, The Beekeeper. And I just saw his newest attempt in A Working Man, now playing in theaters. But is this new film with Mr. Statham worthy enough to make you feel like a working man? Or is this one just going to leave you completely tired and exhausted? Find out in this spoiler free review right now. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a spoiler-free review of the 2025 action thriller flick A Working Man, released by MGM along with Black Bear. Directed by David Ayer, written by Ayer and old Sly himself, Sylvester Stallone, based on the 2014 novel by Chuck Dixon, Levin's Trade. The film stars Jason Statham as the titular character of Levin. Levin Cade, that is. The film also includes others, including Jason Fleming, Ariana Rivas, plus Michael Pena and David Harbour. Anyway, here we go. Of course, I'm giving you just a tiny bit of the story because this is a spoiler-free review, you know. Levin Cade is a former Royal Marine commando who now works as the leader of a construction team. He is close with the Garcia family that runs the company. When their teenage daughter Jenny is kidnapped by Russian traffickers, Levin takes matters into his own hands to get her back. The organization is run by Bratva, led by Simon Karchenko. After Levin kills high-ranking Captain Wolo Kolisnik, Simon sends his sons Danya and Vanko after Levin. Levin infiltrates the organization by pretending to be a dealer to get close to Wolo's brother Dimi, who runs the trafficking part of the organization. Jenny's captors, Viper and Artemis, try to sell her to a client, but Jenny bites the man's cheek off and is ordered to be killed until the client changes his mind and wants to try again with her. Meanwhile, Levin is caught between Diana and Vanko, but he kills them, which makes things personal between him and Simon. Anyway, now that's all the story I will give to you, even though that's just some of the story, but the rest you're going to have to see the movie. Now, my thoughts on A Working Man is I am going to say this is another good film with Jason Statham. Well, I consider this not to be close or as good as his recent attempt from last year, that being The Beekeeper, which also happened to be directed by David Ayer, who also directed Suicide Squad in 2016. Still, I am going to say this is pretty good in what have you. Rotten Tomatoes currently has this at a score of 53%, while Metacritic has a score of 55. This film's got mixed reviews. The Guardian says, at its best, a movie like A Working Man functions as an update to the hard-boiled detective story with a resilient bruiser conducting his own off-books missing person investigation. But Stallone and Ayer don't have the patience for too much skullduggery. Skull smashery is more their thing, and as an action movie, A Working Man doesn't reach the giddy heights of Sam's best. Well, factually true, but not 110%, because this does have a few flaws and what have you. Now, Frank Shank said in the Hollywood Reporters he praised the acting, including Statham's, but particularly of Harbour's, but stated the film feels overwhelmed at nearly 2 hours, repetitiveness setting in early, but it does have its enjoyable, eccentric touches, several which smack of Stallone, who often infuses his portrayals with subtle humor. Well, yes, this does have a few some humorous moments and lines in my view, but they didn't really bother me much. Now, I actually think Jason Statham still does one hell of a job in performing his role of Levin Cade. It's still pretty good. Well, again, not quite close to his. Well, it's almost, but not quite close to as good as his recent performance in The Beekeeper. But nevertheless, I found the films to be pretty good. Now, here's a few other negatives I have with the film. The film's runtime is 116 minutes. That's almost 2 hours. I think this could have just used a wee bit of trimming in some parts. It's hard to say what they are because this is where another problem comes in. This has some pacing issues as well. It goes one thing to another and what have you. It kind of slows down at times, but later on the final act, it picks up a little. It tries to build up until it gets to the final act and what have you. Anyway, now let's see. Now, Jared Michael Fry does the score, which isn't too bad. Now, I will say David Ayer did a pretty good job with his directing on it, just like what he did with The Beekeeper. Well, like I said, that's kind of a little bit better than this by all means, but don't take my word for it. The story he did with Old Sly himself was pretty good in ways. Yes. Now, I absolutely enjoyed the action sequences. They are absolutely cool, bloody, and awesome, just like what you could get from any other Jason Statham movie. Well, in the R-rated category, that is. Anyway, yeah. And it does have a good cast too, which, by the way, that's another problem this film has. Now, David Harbour's in this, and so is Michael Pena. Pena, who you may know from the Ant-Man series and several other films, played Joe Garcia, Levin's boss, and David Harbour playing a friend of his, well, Levin's, as that's what I'm really meant, Guy Leverty. They don't get much screen time. What's up with that? That's kind of another big downside with this film. So those two not having much screen time as well as the runtime that really could use a little trimming and what have you, and the pacing. Those are my issues with the film, though. But nevertheless, I still enjoyed the film for what it had to offer. For the rest of the cast, we have playing Wolo is Jason Fleming, who you may remember from working with British filmmakers Guy Ritchie and Matthew Vaughn. He, of course, appeared in Ritchie's Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch, while as for Vaughn, he appeared in Layer Cake, Kick Ass, and X Men First Class. Now, Ariana Rivas plays Jenny Garcia, Joe's daughter, who gets kidnapped. And I'm gonna say she was pretty good and what have you. Now, Fleming, on the other hand, he's not too bad. Naomi Gonzalez plays Jenny's mother, Carla, who isn't too bad. Now, for the two kidnappers, Viper is played by Emmett J. Scanlon, who I must say was pretty good. Now, as for Armis, on the other hand, played by Eve Morrow. Yes, who's been in some films. Most of them, I'm afraid, I'm not too familiar with, except for films like Miss March and Land of the Lost. Oh yeah, and Sorority Party Massacre. I think I saw that one, but I could be wrong though. Maximilian Osinski played Demi. Not bad. And there's many others and what have you. So the cast is not too bad. But again, as I said, Michael Pena and David Harbour, not much screen time for those two. Wish they could have done better with them too. But again, of the whole, I found the film to be pretty good. Well, not quite as good as The Beekeeper, but it manages to still do its best, though. But despite the slow, the mixed, the pacing issues in my view, the long run time that could use a little trimming, and the less runtime we see of Michael Pena and David Harbour, those aren't just my big issues. But other things like Jason Statham, the action sequences, other cast members, the score, they're not too bad. So A Working Man's pretty good and what have you. If you are a Jason Statham fan, I would recommend you give this a watch. Go check it out. So for my score, I'm going to give A Working Man 4 stars. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it an 8.5. So what did you think of A Working Man? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel, make it grow and make the views grow. Tell all your friends about my channel, give them to know me. Maybe they'd like to be a part of my Big D Nation and share my vids with your friends if you like to. We'll have another video coming up for you soon. So if you like this, check out my reviews of these other Jason Statham films. In the upper left-hand corner is the first installment of a franchise that really made him a big star in ways, and that's The Transporter. Or if you'd like maybe a sequel to a franchise, this one's gotten tons of views already. Check out my review of The Expendables 3 in the upper right hand corner. And the bottom left hand corner is my spoiler free review of his recent film from last year, The Beekeeper. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying see ya.